Well, I'm going to make a bonus journal entry today just because I happen to have the time and I happen to have the will and I'm excited about it for now, so why not? I've been looking at a few. Obviously, I watch a fair number of Red Dead YouTube channels. They're unofficial, of course. They're guys like Hazard and Austin BMX and Outlaw Gary and Tagback TV and I don't know who else. There's Silent Core. There's a number of PvP Cat. There's a number of others that I watch. And one of the things that Dirty Tyler, sorry. There's a number of things that are common in this community that I take a little bit of exception to. Namely, just kind of the negativity about Rockstar and, the sense of entitlement about, they need to provide more for us. Now, it is legitimate to suggest that in Red Dead Online, there's not a lot to do. It is legitimate to suggest that the bugs really do need to be fixed, although, kind of an exaggerated description of them making the game completely unplayable is, obviously not true, and it's belied by the fact that most of these people do live streams several times a week where they play it for hours. So if it's unplayable, how are they doing that and why are they doing that? And I don't mean to bust their chops. I mean, I kind of get it, but, given in particular the pandemic situation we're in, which means, among other things, that Rockstar employees are not able to go into work and they don't have access to their workstations, and they probably don't have computers at home. Well, I don't know, maybe some of them do, but they probably don't have computers at home that can crunch the kind of code that they need to do their job. Just like, I work in a manufacturing sector, and although my computer's pretty basic, if I were a CAD designer, I would need a workstation to do CAD on that I probably wouldn't have at home, and in fact I don't have at home. And I think it's similar for Rockstar. I think most of the people who work on stuff there probably have a hard time accessing the hardware needed to do what they would normally do. If there are performance capture that needs to be done, the studios are all closed. I mean, I guess I'm sympathetic to the fact that yes, they're late on this update. I'd really like to see it. We've kind of been expecting it for a month, maybe two now, but then again, I'm not shocked and dismayed that it isn't here. I'm not going to give up on the game. I'm still having fun playing it. Now, granted, I'm a late adopter. I played Red Dead single player when it was brand spanking new, but I've only been playing online since, sometime shortly after the end of the year. So, not even 5 months yet. Probably not, only about 4 months. And I've done a lot in 4 months. I've maxed out all the roles. I'm at level 150 something. I've, gotten a lot of stuff. I can certainly see that without a new role or some other kind of new content, soon my motivation to continue to log on will probably flag. But that's okay. I mean, my hobbies always kind of come and go in waves, and I don't expect that I will be playing 2 hours of Red Dead every day for the next, several years. I expect for the next several months maybe I'll do something similar to that, but eventually I won't. I'll probably lose my streak when we go well, I know for sure I'll lose my streak when we go out of town sometime this summer, whenever that ends up being, and it's a little difficult to plan right now, obviously. But when I go out of town, I'll lose my streak for daily challenges, and I don't know that I'll be motivated to really jump back into it or not, because that's kind of a lot of work to get to that point. But I don't know, I guess what I'm saying is, if you are just a person watching YouTube videos of Red Dead because you're a fan, don't believe the hype. The game's still fun, and it's still good, and I'm not suggesting that it doesn't have problems that need to be ironed out, that it would be a lot better if the game had them ironed out, but there's a lot of negative hype, and personally, when I see those types of videos, I tend to give them a pass, because I'm just not interested in somebody ranting about how insulting they think that Rockstar's weekly update wasn't everything that it was cracked up to be, or everything that they thought it should be. Now, that said, there are some items on the weekly update that are almost a little bit amusing. The fact that there's a 50% discount on food, which is already dirt cheap as it is, I don't think that actually matters to literally anybody. Even the greenest of new players doesn't really care too much about spending 25 cents versus 50 cents for a carrot, for example. I don't even understand why they would have done that. Then again, I'm kind of a cheapskate. I actually prefer, and I prefer to feed my horse food that I find. And you can go over to the barn at Braithwaite Manor, one of the sheds or something, not directly connected to the wooden shed, unpainted, not directly connected to the mansion itself. There's a bunch of barrels full of apples, and you can pick up, 14, 15 apples. There's a little area of the Great Plains that's immediately to the north of Blackwater, south of the Dakota River. You can find, if you look with your eagle eye and kind of wander around through there, you can find a ton of wild carrots there. And so that's what I feed my horses: apples that I get for free and wild carrots that I get for free. The wild carrots tend to do better, and I tend to find them more often because they're kind of all over the place. In fact, curiously, as I've moved my moonshine shack over to Henniganstead, usually I've noticed that there are 2 wild carrots literally right outside my door, and I usually pick them because I ride around enough that I end up feeding several of them to my horse every day, so I end up going a little low. I'm a little bit less frequently over by Braithwaite Manor. It's a little bit out of the way, so I don't get there quite as often. So I usually go with the wild carrots, and it's not hard to find them. They're usually all over the place, and they're free. Now, that said, regular carrots are pretty cheap, and although I am cheap, it's not a big deal to buy a bunch of them either. The clothing updates are a little unusual. There's an outfit. I actually didn't realize this until just now. I saw it. There's an outfit called the Tasman outfit that I'm going to probably buy, although a lot of the elements within it are clothing elements that I might already have. They might be a little different, though, so I'm going to go ahead and grab it. I think it'll be worth it for at least a few of the elements that it has. One of the hats is basically the same from single player as the Worn Gambler's hat, and I think the main color might be identical. I need to look at it more closely when I'm online later. The main color might be identical to the single player Worn Gambler hat, but the other colors are kind of strange and have this dappled appearance, like they're made out of some kind of spotted cowhide or something. I'm not quite sure what that's all about. I might buy the main one, or I might not once I have a closer look at it. The other hats I'm not interested in. The coats that are for sale is the Irwin Coat. It was actually for sale just a few weeks ago. It is basically identical to the single player Cougar Cutaway Coat, which is one of the Trapper craftable coats, except of course it comes in a whole bunch of different colors. I might buy a couple of those. And then there's the Cossack Hat, which is identical to the Bear Grenadier hat, and it also comes in multiple colors. Some of them are kind of dappled. I don't know, I never really use that in single player very much, but I might buy 1 or 2 of them just in case I ever feel like making a Russian or Cossack themed outfit for my character. I don't know. They're good for a laugh. What the heck? I'll probably buy 1 or 2 of them. This is, I'm not talking about $600-700 worth of clothing that I'll probably buy. Maybe more. I haven't had to look and see how much the outfit costs. Maybe it's closer to $1,000. That will obviously put back my plans to buy the new horse and saddle, because I will need to spend money on these limited clothing. Now, these limited clothing, they'll probably be on sale for 2 weeks. Either way, and the other stuff's going to be on sale forever. It's not going to go away. So either way, there's no big hurry. I'm actually kind of excited about some of the sale bonuses, though. And I mentioned earlier that I was getting moonshine sale bonuses, and I was quantified as 30% extra money that I'm getting. There's also a couple of the collections have bonuses too. The Arrowhead one is actually a pretty good deal. It's a smaller collection than the coins, So with the bonus, it probably pays out a little bit better. It doesn't, I mean, it doesn't pay out literally as much money as the coins, but because you only have to collect 12 of them instead of 15, it's, you know, per item price is probably better. I actually think that that makes the arrowheads much more attractive to do. Now, unfortunately, I can't get that collection today, assuming I log back on again still today, because I got a few arrowheads as part of a daily challenge, and I went ahead and sold them after I had them. This is before I realized, of course, that there was going to be a bonus on the full set. But had I known that there was going to be, I might have actually sprung for getting the whole set. I probably will tomorrow, though, and I'll probably, like I said, try to be a little more on top of doing moonshine deliveries because they're paying a little extra. So let's try and do a little more of them and get the bonus. It's like getting overtime, you know, at work. Why not do it if you've got the time, and if you're going to do the work anyway, why not get a little overtime? And it's, you know, money that I can spend when I've got a few expensive things that I'm trying to fund anyway. Other than that, I think I'm going to record some new videos. The new Nacogdoches saddle I bought for Guy of Gisborne, my Dark Bay Turkoman, has the collector saddlebag. I might load it up with a few extra outfits, find a good scenic place where I can parade around in front of these outfits, then make a video of it and talk about some of my outfits. Now, I don't have, of course, all the clothes. There's a lot of things that I don't have, but I'm getting to the point where I've got a lot of options to make outfits out of, and I have always kind of enjoyed, I don't know why, but I enjoyed, you know, being able to customize the look of my character and trying to come up with outfits that I thought looked really cool and dangerous and Western, and or not Western if I wanted to be more iconoclast. Whatever the case may be, coming up with outfits that I thought looked pretty cool. It does, I admit, sound a little fashion-y, like I'm, you know, oh, let's put my character on the catwalk, and that's not exactly what I'm hoping to come across as, but you know, I gotta admit, I like my characters to have good looks. I don't want characters that look dumb, because you gotta look at them for a long time, and I like kind of having access to lots of options to dress them up in different outfits that look cool. And I tend to prefer a little bit more of the rougher frontiersman, mountain man, cowboy, outlaw type outfits, but you know, every once in a while you gotta have a nice dressy outfit too, so you can show up on the streets of, you know, whatever town you're in and look like you belong there. So I'm probably going to make a little series of videos where I show some of my outfits and talk about how I made them. I know that the outfit series, there's kind of a lot of them around. There's quite a few of them. I really like, in particular, how Voog, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, his YouTube name is spelled VOOWG. He's made outfit videos, and so what he did here, let me back up a little bit. What he did was he had a number of subscribers suggested outfits to him. And this is for single player, although he's done a little bit here and there with online too. But he's had a number of players suggest outfits to them. He's made either Arthur or John up in that outfit, kind of did whatever needed to be done with his hair and beard to make it kind of match, and then made kind of this little vignette where it kind of came across as if it were an entire character. And some of the character concepts were better. They were really good as concepts. Some of them were really good as outfits, and a few of them were really good as both. And there's a couple of them that in particular kind of stand out in my mind. There was a Detective John Marston, where he kind of used video of John in this outfit investigating the clues for the serial killer that's kind of in that cellar a little bit south of Valentine. There's a Tough Guy of New Hanover, where Arthur kind of looks like this boxer from, you know, 1900s, early 1900s. There's a New Hanover Ranger, which is kind of like a Texas Ranger, but, you know, is filmed in New Hanover. I mean, you could easily do a New Austin Ranger too, and it would maybe, or Hennigan Stead Ranger, it would look maybe a little bit more appropriate. I'm also going to do a little series of videos where I talk a bit about the um, different regions and states. I've talked a little bit about Henniganstead and how it reminds me of home. Although I didn't actually grow up in the part of Texas that looked a lot like that. The part of Texas I grew up in really looked more like Scarlet Meadows, quite honestly. And I think both Henniganstead and Scarlet Meadows equally remind me of home, although in different ways. And those are two of my favorite regions in the game. Although, again, my father's family is from the South. They originally from backwoods Georgia, and I grew up in Texas. But my father had spent a couple of generations living out west, and my grandparents did not live, in Texas or Georgia, either one. In fact, they as long as I can remember, they lived either in the Salt Lake City area or Southern California, and my mom's parents likewise were all from the West. So the West also feels like home, although it's kind of a home that I never lived in. Texas is a home that I did live in. So Henniganstead and Scarlet Meadows are the two regions that feel the most like home to me. And I want to talk about those two probably in a video that kind of talks a little bit about them. So that's kind of my plans for the next couple of updates I want to do. We'll see how it goes. I don't know how fast I'll do them or how soon. I need to take some more video footage. I've also noticed, for whatever reason, that I was uploading the videos in higher quality than I was exporting them, so I'm going to try to fix that. It takes a long time for my phone to export the videos, so that's probably why I did the settings that I did, but I'm going to go ahead and suck it up and up the settings so it looks a little nicer. And that's kind of my next plan for the next little bit. I'll talk to you guys later.